Hi all! It's true, I didn't die, and I didn't give up my channel, so I apologize for how long it's been, but my life has changed quite drastically since I ended my last series, and things have finally settled into place. So without further ado, welcome back to Game Music Minutia, the show where I break down the video game industry's best soundtracks and find some meaning behind those beautiful tunes. For those of you who are new, welcome! If you haven't, check out my series on Silent Hill, which cover Akira Yamaoka's amazing scores and sound design decisions for the first 4 entries in the survival horror series. To all of you returning, thank you. It means a lot to have you back, really. In this new chapter for the channel, we're stepping away from the horror and into an experience that is vastly different. But much like my feelings about Silent Hill, this new series is just as near and dear to my heart, if not more. For the next several months, I will be covering my favorite series of all time, Kingdom Hearts. In this video, we'll look at the early beginnings of Kingdom Hearts series composer Yoko Shimomura's career. Then I'll answer probably the most difficult question anyone could ever ask me: why do I love Kingdom Hearts? I promise, even if you're not a fan of the series or know pretty much nothing about it, this will be worth your time. Strap in, but before we start, I need to again throw out a spoiler warning. I can't effectively discuss the series without spoiling things up through Kingdom Hearts 3. If that's a problem, please go finish any game you want to, and then come back. If not, well, let's go. Years before the first entry in the Kingdom Hearts series dropped in 2002, composer Yoko Shimomura made a name for herself while working at Capcom. Her first score was for the game Samurai Sword in 1988, and then, just a year later, she produced the soundtrack for Final Fight. While many of you have likely heard of those games, you probably didn't hear Shimomura's name being praised by fans and critics until the release of Street Fighter II. After the seminal Capcom game released, it was difficult to overlook the influence Shimomura had on the success of the fighter. Of course, the frenetic and colorful gameplay hooked players, but adding joy fuel to the ride was Shimomura's iconic scores. As she revealed in interviews, she created a soundtrack comprised primarily of characters' themes. While that seems pretty standard for a fighting game, she took it a step further by taking inspiration from the globe-trotting element of Street Fighter II and used influences from each character's country of origin to compose their songs. Blanca's Brazilian roots are manifested through the pulsing drum beats, while Ken's American sensibilities bring a pop-rock vibe to his classic theme. In the end, Shimomura had managed to create catchy tunes that could be easily recognizable, making each character stand out in their own melodic way, as well as instantly reminding players of where these characters came from. I mean, let's also not forget that Guile's theme goes with everything.
Andrew, you are not the
This success was only the beginning for Shimomura. After leaving Capcom, she joined Square to broaden her skills as a composer. In her words, she wanted to write classical-style music. It was here that she worked on the titles like Live a Live and Super Mario RPG, as well as the survival horror gem Parasite Eve. However, despite the many iconic scores already under her belt, it wasn't until her work on Legend of Mana that she truly tapped into what she felt represented her classical style. Much like the scores in other fantasy RPGs, like the Final Fantasy franchise, Shimomura created sweeping orchestral tracks for the game that would bring a melodic heart to the RPG, one that fans of the game still praise to this day. And this brings us to 2002, and the debut of Tetsuya Nomura's insanely creative and out-of-the-box series, Kingdom Hearts. It's here, beginning with this first title in the action RPG franchise, that Shimomura blends her skills shown in Street Fighter II with that of Legend of Mana's. Throughout this video series, I will be referring to 3 factors that make up the Shimomura style: identity, environment, and spectacle. All 3 work in harmony to create, in my opinion, one of the most well-rounded, compelling, and rich scores in video games, which she has proven time and time again across the multiple entries in Kingdom Hearts. There is an unspoken understanding amongst Kingdom Hearts fans about why the series is so beloved. Where 2 or more Keyblade wielders are gathered together, there is a joyful connection happening. Of course, as beautiful as that is, the word unspoken makes it difficult to explain to others why we love it so much. Odds are, if you're watching this, you've at least heard of the series and probably have questioned why it's successful. A Disney and Final Fantasy crossover game sounds kind of ridiculous, and really it kind of is. It's true that genre mashups tend to confound the mind, but they also can subvert expectations in a profound way. Take Buffy the Vampire Slayer, a teen melodrama told through the lens of a monster of the week horror formula, or Twin Peaks, the supernatural mystery soap opera that we touched on in the Silent Hill series. On paper, these concepts shouldn't really work, but as millions of fans of both of these shows, including myself, can attest, they're fantastic. But if that's not enough to convince someone to open their mind even slightly to the idea of a series where Mickey Mouse and a boy with big shoes save lives using giant keys, then maybe this will. Alright, here we go. Kingdom Hearts is a series that takes its name and runs with it. It's comprised of cute, whimsical, childish, and melodramatic moments. It can make your eyes roll or feel that maybe you're just too old to be the right audience. Its plot can be convoluted, complicated, and feel sort of redundant. But, at the same time, it can present moments that reach deep into your soul, exposing the many walls, the insecurities, and the pains that have been pushed away in the hopes of never bringing them to the light again. It's here, in these touching moments, that the true nature of Kingdom Hearts appears. It's a series about identity, where both the heroes and villains struggle with who they are and what it means to be whole. Where the story's most powerful heroes are also the most flawed, and the villains are equally deserving of sympathy. It's a series for anyone that has ever questioned who they are, for anyone that has felt lost, unworthy, broken, or expendable. A series where the main protagonist is the most unlikely of saviors. A plan B of a boy, thrown into a complicated tapestry of fates and destinies. A dull, ordinary, and often ridiculed boy whose greatest strength is one our society has deemed a weakness: empathy.
That's weird. It's like something's squeezing me inside.
Somebody up there must be sad.
Up where?
They say every world is connected by one great big sky. So maybe there's somebody up there in all those worlds who's really hurting. And they're waiting for you to help them.
Well, gee, do you think there's something I could do?
Maybe they just need you to open your heart and listen.
It's a series for anyone that was told they cried too much as a kid. Be a man. Bury what hurts. Just bury it. For the ones who still mourn the loss of their most beloved friend and wonder if anyone else in the world has felt the same level of unbearable pain. That unique type of pain carried with you every single day. It's a series for those that have sunk into the deepest abyss of depression and wonder if it's even worth crawling out of. It's for the fighters. It's for the helpers. It's for the weak and the strong of will. And when the story's creator takes too many left turns with the plot, there is always a constant beacon of light for us: the music. While we fall in love with the many complex characters, watching them fail, watching them succeed, or ultimately fade away, the score continually honors who they are. It brings validity to their identity and often reminds us that even when one of them is gone, they haven't been forgotten. Yoko Shimomura's score is much like our young hero, full of energy and joy. It gives every moment a heart that can be revisited in a melody. It unknowingly teases us of events to come and takes us back to one more night with our friends beneath the stars. Shimomura's music is the spiritual heart of Kingdom Hearts, a messy and strange series that is cherished by millions of imperfect people. Imperfect people like me. And that, my friends, brings us to the end of this prequel episode. For fans of the game series already, consider this the back cover entry. Before we go, I decided to do something fitting with the themes of Kingdom Hearts to end each of these videos. Since these are games that teach the value of relationships and sharing your gratitude for others, I wanted to dedicate each video to a creative person in my life that's helped me along the way. This first video represents the entire series, especially considering I just bared my soul with that last speech, so my first dedication is going to be pretty significant. I want to thank my friend Ragnar, someone who I never imagined I would ever have the chance to know on a personal level. Before I started making you videos, I would watch Ragnar's channel, Ragnarok Show, which you can check out in the link if you haven't, and you should go do that if you haven't, and marvel at how polished and eloquent his work was. YouTube has always seemed like a place where most of us get pure entertainment, but it's channels like Ragnar's that prove the platform can be used to truly educate while also entertaining and inspiring other people. On top of making amazing content, he's also a very compassionate and kind individual. I reached out to him after making a couple of my first videos and he was nothing short of supportive. He even partnered with me on an episode that remains one of my favorites to this day. More importantly, he's the kind of friend that you can only experience when fate smiles upon you. Despite living across the world from each other, I can send him a message asking for help or just for someone to hear me, and he answers, no questions asked. I mean, he listened to me gush about Kingdom Hearts, a series that he has told me he knows nothing about, for about an hour. I mean, that's pretty amazing. I'm forever grateful to him for his work and his friendship, and if it wasn't for him supporting me, I don't think I would be at this point covering my favorite series of all time. So, thank you, my friend. Much like Kingdom Hearts, you will always hold a special place in my heart. P.S. Harry is still the sexier one. Thank you for watching, and I hope you continue to join me as I delve into Kingdom Hearts over the many coming weeks. And that's right, expect a new video each week. I'm holding myself to it. Knowing people are interested helps motivate me too, so please share and tell your Kingdom Hearts loving friends about this. And please, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter. I just love to chat.